Imagine moving into your dream home, a cozy duplex in a quiet neighborhood. You have your family and your kids, and everything seems perfect. But what if something evil was already waiting for you? This is the terrifying true story of the Smurl family, a typical family trapped in a nightmare they could never escape. It all began in 1973 when Jack and Janet Smurl moved into a duplex on Chase Street in West Pittston, Pennsylvania. They lived on one side with their 4 daughters, Dawn, Heather, and twins Shannon and Karen. Jack's parents, John and Mary, lived on the other side. At first, life was peaceful. The family was happy to have a home, a place where their children could grow up safely. But soon, strange things started happening. At first, the incidents were small. The family would hear strange noises at night, whispers when no one was around, footsteps echoing in empty rooms, and scratching sounds coming from the walls. They assumed it was just the house settling or rats in the walls. But then, the foul smell started. Horrible and rotting meat-like odors that seemed to come from nowhere and vanish just as quickly. No matter how much they cleaned, the stench would return, filling the house with an unbearable presence. Objects began moving on their own. Chairs would slide across the floor, lights would flicker, and kitchen drawers would open and shut by themselves. One day, Jack was fixing a leaking pipe in the bathroom when he suddenly felt an unseen force push him. He fell hard, bruising his ribs. He tried to tell himself it was just his imagination. But deep down, he knew something wasn't right. Over time, the activity became more aggressive. The banging on the walls grew louder at night, shaking the house as if someone were pounding on it with all their strength. The television would turn on by itself, blaring static in the middle of the night. The family's pet dog would bark at empty spaces, growling as if sensing something unseen. The Smurls began to fear that they were not alone in their home. Then, things took an even darker turn. One night, Janet was in the kitchen when she suddenly felt a cold hand touch her shoulder. She spun around, but no one was there. The temperature in the room dropped, and she heard a faint guttural voice whispering her name. Panicked, she ran out of the kitchen, refusing to go back in alone. As the months passed, the unseen entity grew bolder. One night, Janet woke up to find a dark, shadowy figure standing at the foot of her bed. It had glowing red eyes and a scary, twisted grin. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. The figure leaned closer, its breath ice cold and foul. Then it whispered in a deep, inhuman voice, "You will never leave." The couple's daughters also suffered. Dawn, their eldest, started waking up in the middle of the night, crying and screaming that someone was watching her. Heather saw shadowy figures darting around corners and heard voices calling her name when no one was there. Even the twins, Shannon and Karen, who were only toddlers at the time, would stare into empty spaces and start crying uncontrollably. The most horrifying event came when Jack alleged that he was sexually assaulted by a demonic entity. On August 3rd, 1985, Jack experienced a terrifying night he would never forget. He was in bed trying to sleep when he suddenly felt a cold, heavy force join him. It was as if a dark presence climbed into his bed and pinned him down, leaving him completely helpless. Jack described the feeling like a demon had taken control of his body. He couldn't move or scream. His chest felt crushed. It felt as if the demon was stealing his strength and breaking his spirit. The memory of that violation, of being touched by something he could not see, left him with nightmares and a deep, unshakable fear of the dark. These experiences pushed the family to their breaking point, and they sought help from their local church. Despite several blessings and prayers, the activity only worsened. Crucifixes were thrown from the walls and religious objects were destroyed. Jack and Janet even tried playing religious music, but instead of calming the house, it seemed to enrage whatever was haunting them. The noises became deafening, and an overwhelming sense of dread filled every room. The Warrens arrived at the house and immediately sensed a powerful evil presence. Lorraine, who was a clairvoyant, claimed to see a dark shadow moving through the rooms and felt an overwhelming sense of dread. The couple conducted a spiritual investigation and concluded that 4 spirits haunted the Smurl house: an elderly woman, a violent young girl, a mentally unstable man, and a powerful demon that controlled the others. According to the Warrens, this demon fed on fear, growing stronger with each attack. The Warrens set up recording devices and cameras, trying to capture evidence of the haunting. They heard deep growls coming from empty rooms and recorded strange voices whispering threats. At one point, Lorraine witnessed a dark mass moving through the house, shifting and changing form. She said it was an evil entity that thrived on chaos and suffering. One of the most terrifying incidents occurred when Jack was alone in the living room. He suddenly felt a cold presence behind him. Before he could react, he was lifted into the air and thrown across the room. He hit the wall with such force that he blacked out for a few seconds. Janet had her own horrifying experiences. One night, while doing laundry in the basement, she heard a voice mimicking her daughter's voice calling for her. She rushed upstairs, but her daughter was sound asleep. The realization sent chills down her spine, as if something was trying to lure her. Similarly, when she was cooking dinner, the kitchen went completely silent. Then, every cabinet door flew open at once, and dishes came crashing down to the floor. A deep, guttural voice growled, "Get out!" She ran out of the kitchen, shaking with fear. In the mid-1980s, the most horrifying nights occurred when the family was gathered in the living room. The lights suddenly flickered violently, and an ear-piercing scream echoed through the house. The air became thick with the scent of sulfur. A black shadow rushed past them, knocking over furniture as it disappeared into the darkness. That night, the twins woke up screaming, their beds shaking as if someone were trying to pull them away. Despite everything they tried, the haunting lasted for 14 long years. The family went through many exorcisms performed by priests, but the evil presence refused to leave. No matter how many prayers were said, the spirit only seemed to get angrier. One night, as Janet prayed beside her bed, her Bible suddenly caught fire in her hands. She screamed and dropped it, watching in shock as the flames disappeared just as fast as they had appeared. The book was burned and smoking. Dark shadows moved along the walls, forming twisted faces that seemed to laugh at her. The Smurls tried to stay strong, but they were tired, scared, and losing hope. Crosses fell from the walls without warning, and religious statues cracked as if something invisible was attacking them. One night, Jack heard a deep growl coming from under his bed. When he looked down, he saw 2 glowing red eyes staring back at him. The mattress started shaking violently, almost throwing him onto the floor. Finally, in 1986, after years of suffering, the Catholic Church agreed to help. A group of priests performed a powerful exorcism, their prayers echoing through the house. The walls shook as an unseen force fought back. A terrible smell filled the air. Objects lifted off the ground and crashed down. A dark mist leaked from the walls, as if something was being forced out, but the nightmare wasn't over yet. The spirit refused to leave, and the family suffered 3 more years of fear. Then, in 1989, a bishop performed a final powerful exorcism. This time, as he finished the last words of the ritual, a loud, piercing scream filled the house. Then, everything went completely silent. The heavy, dark feeling that had filled their home for so many years was finally gone. For the first time in years, the Smurl family felt safe. The haunting had finally ended, and they could move on from the nightmare that had nearly destroyed their lives. That same year, the Smurls decided to leave the house and move to a new location. Seeking a fresh start, they settled into their new home, where they reported no further paranormal activity. After enduring years of fear and torment, they were finally able to live in peace. After they left, the new owners of the house reported no paranormal activity. Their story became one of the most famous documented cases of demonic haunting in America. Books were written about their experiences, and in 1991, a TV movie titled The Haunted was released, based on their terrifying ordeal. Some skeptics claim the Smurls imagined it all, that stress and fear made them believe they were haunted. But those who have heard their story, seen the evidence, and witnessed their suffering believe otherwise. So what do you think? Was it a demon, a curse, or something even more terrifying? One thing is certain. The Smurl family's nightmare is a chilling reminder that sometimes the scariest things aren't just in our imaginations. They're real, and they're waiting.